Okay guys, a little project I'm working on here. I bought 3 different kinds of sound deadener insulation. And what I fell on was this 200 thickness, or they call it 200 thickness, Silis Hybrid 3-in-1. So it's supposed to kill heat and sound and whatever else. So it's really thick and it's really heavy. It almost feels, on the inside of it, you can tell it's 3 layers. So there's like a, you'll never be able to see in the camera probably, but there's definitely 3 layers. And one is almost like a tar. Like I said, it's really heavy. It went from these panels being light to they're actually got some weight to them now. So I did the inside like that, and the outside. That's the upper one. Here's the lower one. I didn't put nothing over here yet. I got a different idea for that. But I think the single biggest thing that I did that quieted it and helped with heat on that last Pro that I did is plug this off. This is to your center console. Let's open her up here. So, normally right there, hard to see that, normally right there is all wide open. So right where your motor's at, that's that sound deadener. And I did the wolf snout kit on the last one, and it had a big chunk of insulation stuff in there. And you kind of glue it and screw it and whatever so it stays in there. So I'm going to try this sound deadener. I think ultimately what I'm going to do too is, once I get all this stuff back in, I'm going to do a sound blanket. Like a big heavy chunk of rubber or something that drapes over the whole back. That's easy to remove for checking oil and such, for servicing and whatever. But I think it's going to make a big difference. We're about to find out here. I didn't notice the noise real bad, actually, until I decided that I was going to change up and get a different blow off and stuff. And then I can hear it. You can hear the hissing when it's not under boost. I don't love that sound. I like the blow off sound, but I don't like the hissing. So I'm going to change the spring. That's supposed to make a big difference, or maybe all the difference. I'm not sure yet. But also I'm like, well, if I can hear it that much, obviously it's letting a lot of heat in. So, and I never noticed much for heat issues in this thing. But I've got it fully enclosed now too. Just some cheapy upper doors for the winter time, springtime, whatever. Full glass front and the Polaris rear. So once I put these upper doors on and it's fully enclosed, I noticed it was a fair amount louder, which everything is. That's not just a, Turbo R issue, but Pro XP issue, but just an enclosure issue. So I figured I'm also start chasing some stuff down, plugging some holes. I want to ride in the winter and be somewhat comfortable. It's not closed off like a General is on the inside of here. There's plenty of holes and nooks and crannies and stuff that cold can come through and heat can come in and whatever else. But I'm going to try and get a bunch of them cleaned up, closed up. So in the summer, I should be a little bit cooler, keep some of the heat out, and any water holes I hit and such should hopefully keep some of that mud and water out. And in the winter, help keep me warm and keep the noise down from the engine. So we're gonna get after it here. Okay, so here's what it looks like on the inside. Now that the outside and the inside of the 2 removable back firewall, I guess we'll call it, back panel is done. I found a couple of holes. These are over by the seat belt. Obviously, cooling tubes, coolant lines run through there. So I'm gonna just make a small piece here. It covers that. Maybe it's not a big deal, maybe it is. And then I'll probably just scab a few pieces in here, maybe on this side wall. And over on the other side, it's a little bit more open. Like I said, I'm not gonna go too nuts, but I'll hit this side, maybe some of this side, And then there's a hole on this side as well, same as the other side of the console. Probably would benefit from, like I said, I never really noticed any real heat issues. Coming from a General even, it doesn't bother me at all. So I never really noticed any heat issues, and I don't think it's super loud. Obviously, it's louder than a General or a Ranger, but it is what it is. It's for off-road, and you're going to have some noise. I usually wear my helmet riding this one anyway, so. But anyway, I think if you did this whole center console, you'd probably get rid of some heat if heat's an issue for you. The other thing that may or may not help is there's definitely some spots in the dash that now that it's enclosed, I can feel some cold air coming through. So I know hot air is coming from the radiator as well. In the winter, I'm not too worried about it because any warm air I can get, I'll take. So I'm not going to worry about getting too crazy. But let's do a little more insulating here and see if we can cut some noise down noticeably. So I'm not going to complain about that difference. Definitely a lot quieter. And being black, it doesn't look terrible. Like I said, what I think I'm going to do is kind of like that wolf snout kit. It's just a rubber flap basically that covers this whole area. But instead of only coming down to the side, I think I would cover, all the way over here. Cover all of this. I don't see why you wouldn't. Like I said, I don't think it's terribly loud, but the difference that it made in what I did right there is pretty darn noticeable. So I think that's something that I may dive a little deeper into maybe. We'll see how it lasts a little bit. Obviously, it's the winter time right now, and we're not doing a ton of riding, but you can't really see it in there. But so I did the front and the back side. That made a huge difference. Like I said, definitely noticeable. I wasn't wearing a helmet. Obviously, I was seat belted in, but usually in this one, I end up wearing a helmet pretty much all the time because I drive like a jackwagon, but safety third, it's the only way to roll. But it definitely made a huge difference. I think with a helmet on, it would really be, real favorable for riding as far as its sound. And in the summertime, when the full enclosure is not on it, it's going to be even quieter yet. That was with the full enclosure on it. So the other thing I did change is I did change to the heaviest spring for the RPM blow-off valve. So it's not hissing all the time, which is basically a vacuum. It's just blowing off when it's on under boost. I didn't like that sound. But it still sounds good. The blow-off itself still sounds good. And now with this sound deadening, now I'm not even sure. Obviously, I changed them both at the same time. I'm not even sure that you'd even be able to hear it anymore. And the two of them made a giant difference in how loud it is. Like, it was almost obnoxious. Well, I rode with the back panels off. The last time I took a ride just down the road, after I did all the RPM stuff, I rode with those two back panels off. And at like 30 or 40 miles an hour, it's almost ear piercing. Like, you just about can't ride in it. With the enclosure on it and the two back panels off. So now I put the back panels on. They're fully insulated. And I changed the heavy spring on the blow-off valve. And it's like a different machine. I mean, it's not whisper quiet, but obviously it's acceptable for an off-road unit. Our Razor's not meant to be quiet, but it made enough of a difference that it's a lot more enjoyable ride, for sure. So I may explore that a little more. I'm going to look for maybe like a rubber cowl mat or some sort of thing like that to cover that whole back. That should get rid of a lot more noise. So we'll give that a try and see where she goes.